Today, we're diving into the story of a mind that literally saw the future, a man who dreamed of giving power to the entire world for free, and who paid a heavy, heavy price for that vision. This is the story of Nikola Tesla. Okay, just look at this image. This is not some kind of trick photography. That's Nikola Tesla, sitting calmly in his lab while his machine unleashes millions of volts of electricity. I mean, this one picture just captures the whole essence of the man, doesn't it? Audacious, brilliant, and completely at home with forces that would terrify pretty much anyone else. You know, the story of his birth is almost mythical. He was born, supposedly, at the stroke of midnight, right in the middle of a massive lightning storm. The midwife saw this as a terrible omen, a child of darkness. But his mother, she just calmly corrected her. She said, no, this child will belong to light. And you know what? From his earliest days, it really seemed like that prophecy was true. His connection to light, to electricity, it was something innate, something that was already happening inside his own mind long before he ever touched a wire. Can you even imagine this? You're just a kid, and your day is suddenly interrupted by these blinding flashes of light. And inside those flashes, you don't just see shapes or colors. You see complete, complex machines, fully formed, rotating, working perfectly. For Tesla, this wasn't some kind of weird distraction. This was his laboratory. What's so fascinating is how he worked. I mean, think about the classic inventor, right? Piles of notebooks, endless sketches. Think Edison or Da Vinci. That's one way to do it. But Tesla's mind, well, he didn't need the paper. All the real work was done before he ever picked up a single tool. He would build, test, and perfect his inventions entirely within his own imagination. He'd run a motor in his mind's eye for months, listening for any imbalances, waiting to see if a part would wear out. For him, the physical creation was just a formality. The real invention had already happened inside his head. So when Tesla came to America, he brought this incredible mind right into a world that was on the brink of an electrical revolution. But this revolution, it was going to be a battleground, a conflict of ideas and massive egos that we now call the War of Currents. So on one side, you have Thomas Edison. He's the established titan, the big name. And his method? Pure brute force. Just try everything, thousands and thousands of times, until something finally works. His system was direct current, or DC, which was okay, but it was inefficient. It couldn't travel very far. And then you have Tesla, the visionary. His system, alternating current, or AC, was all about elegance and deep theoretical understanding. With AC, you could send power over huge distances and then step it down for safe use. It made a true power grid possible. Their whole philosophies were just destined to clash. And they did. After a really bitter falling out with Edison over money he was promised, Tesla was left with nothing. I mean, can you believe it? The man whose mind held the key to the future was literally forced to dig ditches for $2 a day just to eat. His dreams were basically buried. But ideas that powerful don't stay buried for long. He found new backers who actually believed in AC. And this all led to the massive turning point at Niagara Falls. Right here, Tesla harnessed the incredible power of the waterfall, converted it into alternating current, and sent it to light up the city of Buffalo, 20 miles away. That was something Edison's DC could never, ever do. It was the birth of the modern electrical world as we know it. The war of currents was over. The world was going to run on Tesla's AC. He had won the biggest technological battle of the entire era. And in that moment of ultimate victory, he did something that was just completely unthinkable to the world of business and finance. He held patents that would have made him one of the wealthiest men in history, easily, but instead, he tore up the contracts. His partner, George Westinghouse, was facing financial ruin, so Tesla released him from all his royalty obligations just to save the project. Why? Because he truly believed that the progress of humanity was more important than his own personal fortune. But see, winning the War of Currents wasn't his endgame. Nope, that was just the beginning. His next vision was even bigger. A dream of a truly connected wireless planet. This was Wardenclyffe Tower. This was Tesla's masterpiece. The plan wasn't just to send messages wirelessly across the globe, which, by the way, he demonstrated before Marconi. No, his plan was to transmit electrical power itself right through the air and the earth, available to anyone, anywhere, for free. But when his main investor, the banker J.P. Morgan, finally understood the full scope of this plan, free, wireless energy for everyone, he asked one simple and absolutely devastating question. And Tesla, he didn't have an answer. He didn't want to charge for it. And just like that, the funding was pulled. Wardenclyffe didn't collapse because the science was wrong. It collapsed because you couldn't put a meter on it. You couldn't sell it. The tower was abandoned, and Tesla began a long, slow fade into obscurity. In his later years, the world pretty much forgot about him, but it never, ever stopped using what he'd created. And that leads to the final and most profound irony of his life. On January 7th, 1943, Nikola Tesla died, almost broke and completely alone in a New York hotel room. The newspapers remembered him as this brilliant but eccentric scientist. You know, a strange man who talked to pigeons. And yet, at that very same moment, the entire world outside his window was ablaze with his genius. It wasn't just the lights, the subways rumbling under the streets, the factories building the future, the very power grid connecting everything, all of it, pulsed with the alternating current that he had championed. His name was forgotten, but his work had become the invisible lifeblood of the modern age. He gave the modern world its spark. He really did. But his most profound dream, a world of free, abundant energy, it was just too radical, too generous for the time he lived in. Which kind of leaves us with one last thought, doesn't it? Tesla's story really forces us to ask, how many other world-changing ideas have been lost to history? Not because they were wrong, but just because you couldn't put them on a balance sheet. What genius do we lose when a dream just can't be sold?